is rising, and I've been cold for so long. One touch and we're igniting, setting fire to it all. You know these flames ain't going out. This building is crumbling to the ground. Don't think that we can stop it now, 'cause baby our love is gonna burn it down. You know these flames ain't going out. This building is crumbling to the ground. Don't think I wanna stop it now, 'cause baby our love is gonna burn it down. One spark of the lightning, blazing up through the darkest night. Hold your breath, babe, the smoke is burning. But kiss me now and you'll be alright. You know these flames ain't going out. This building is crumbling to the ground. Don't think that we can stop it now, 'cause baby our love is gonna burn it down. You know these flames ain't going out. This building is crumbling to the ground. Don't think I wanna stop it now, 'cause baby our love is gonna burn it down.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome back. Fearless Mindset Challenge, day 4. How do you guys feel today? All right. I'm pretty excited. I just got out of my cold shower about 20 minutes ago, and sometimes I don't time it quite right. You gotta get the cold shower, get alive and alert, and then get right into it. I just felt like I had to go splash even more cold water on my face just now, just before we started. But I'm good to go now. All right, so it is day 4. How are you guys liking the challenge so far? I feel like it's been pretty good, I think. I hope you guys are enjoying it anyways. And I really... Boy, I put my notes somewhere. There we go. So just a quick recap of where we've been. On day 1, I told you all about the 3 M's: mindset, motivation, and method. Just out of curiosity, put in the comments which one you think you're struggling with the most right now. You have goals and dreams and things that you want to achieve in your life, right? Which one of those 3 things do you think is your biggest struggle right now? Mindset, motivation, or method? But we talked about the 3 M's. we talked about how mindset is BS. It's belief systems, right? Uh, and how beliefs are not facts. So I want to know if you guys know what to do when you struggle with mindset or motivation. Everybody knows what to do when they struggle with method. They get on Google and they find a new method. We're really good at finding methods. Um, and don't get me wrong, like I said in the beginning, I really believe in killer strategies. Killer strategies are amazing. But if you don't have the mindset and you don't have the motivation, no method is going to help you. So I want to know what you do when you struggle with mindset or motivation. It's important because if you believe, as I do, that psychology is 80% of your success, then that's literally mindset and motivation. So, one thing that I've discovered is that um, there's times when no matter how much I get it dialed in, my motivation, my mindset, no matter how much I get it dialed in, there's times when I struggle. There's moments, there's days. I don't always have like a perfect day every day. I try and build in routines into my day and stuff like that to make it so that that doesn't happen, but it still does. Even with that, with the routines, it still happens. I still have days. So once in a while, not all the time. But what happens when I'm marching towards a goal, whatever it is, and I'm making progress, I'm making progress, I'm making progress, and then I have a day and I just fall off the rails? What happens? Well, in the past, when that would happen, I would just completely abandon the goal. And even though it's just one day. So, and I know that that happens to people sometimes. So that's why I'm asking you, what do you do when you struggle with mindset or motivation? So, what I discovered was that two things. First of all, you can't expect to have the mindset and the mindset and the motivation every single day, especially in the beginning. You might get there, but in the beginning, when you first start to learn this stuff, when you first start to change that mindset, change that motivation, and get it dialed into where you want for what your goals are right now. And believe me, your goals are going to change over time, and your dreams are going to change over time too. So you're going to have to change your mindset and your motivation at that time. But right now, you have this goal and this dream, and you want to get your mindset and your motivation dialed in for that goal and that dream. But what do you do when you fall off the rails? And what I discovered is that not only do people fall off the rails, myself included, often, but what you need in that moment on that day, and even the day after, and the day after that, is support. So if you have a friend to reach out to that you can reach out to when you fall off the rails, that's great. That can be amazing. I'm going to tell you about the three kinds of support that exist, okay? So there's three ways that you can get support when you fall off the rails, when you think you've got your mindset dialed in, you think you've got your motivation dialed in, but one day something happens and it's just a day. So you can have the friend, right? The buddy. And the buddy can remind you what your motivation is. And he can remind you what your mindset is. So that's great. That's one way of getting support. And I encourage you to do that anytime you need to. Then the second way of getting support is by hiring a coach. And some people hire a coach to replace the buddy because they're like, I don't have that buddy that I can just reach out to anytime and just like, you know, shoot the shit and have them remind me what my mindset and what my motivation is. But I would encourage you, if you're going to hire a coach, to get more out of the coaching than just that, because there's a lot more to it than that. A coach should be several levels above that. Not that they can't help you in the same way, and they should help you in the same way, but they should help you more. Okay, so you can get your buddy, that's like one level of it. You can get your coach, that's one level of it. And what's the third way? So the third way is by having a community surrounding you. What would be even better than a community? Because the city that I live in is 100,000 people, and we still call it a community. And I can't, it's not like I can just like, walk out the door and whoever I run into, I'm like, hey man, I need support. They'd be like, get the hell away from me. That's, it's more than just a community that you need. It's a family. You need a family to support you. And when you have a family, the small group environment is extremely powerful. And I've built all three of those elements in to my Fearless Transformation Master Groups. So when I discovered this, that support was the missing key, I really unlocked it and I put it all into my Fearless Transformation Master Groups. So when you have the mindset, you have the motivation, you have the support, what else do you need? I want to talk to you a little bit about dream setting, because here's the missing piece. Most people who are extremely driven don't know where they're going. So when you have a ton of motivation, but you don't know where you're going, any direction will do. And unfortunately, that can lead you down some paths that just aren't that good. So I used to have 5-year goals. This was a while ago. And what I found was that going off the rails on a 5-year goal usually happens in the first 6 months. So if you've lost track of your 5-year goal in the first 6 months, then that's obviously not a good situation. That's not a productive situation. So I stopped setting 5-year goals. And instead, so what I do now is I do dream setting. There's two reasons why I do this. One is because I could never stay on track with my 5-year goals. But the other side of it is, what if some of the things that I have in my dream are achievable now? Why would I put that into a 5-year goal when it could be achieved today? When it could be achieved this year? When it could be achieved? What if I don't know the time frame? So there are some things that I want to have in my life that are kind of like ideals, and I don't know how long it will take for me to achieve them or if I ever will. What if I put those ideals into a 5-year goal and I just never get there? What if it's such an ideal that I just can't, it's not something that's humanly achievable? So those are things that go into my dreams now. I don't put that timeline on it, but I still have that target. When I do my dream setting exercise, I make it super, super focused. So I don't just have like some far off, cloudy kind of dream that, doesn't even seem real. I paint a target and I paint a ring on the target and I paint a bullseye on the target. So I actually have something to aim for. And that's how I set my goals. So my dream is the target. You can use whatever language you want. If you don't like to use the word dream, some people don't because they think if it's a dream, it's never going to be real. I don't believe that at all. I believe that my dreams are going to become real. And that's why I use the word dream. I use the word dream to differentiate it from goals because when I think about goals, I think about SMART goals, especially. SMART goals are, it's important to use SMART goals, but those are not dreams. And you should not use the SMART framework to set your target. You should use the SMART framework to help you move towards your target. Okay, that's enough about goals and dreams. Let's get on with it here. Um, I just wanted to give you guys an idea of how the Fearless Transformation Master Groups work so that if you're interested in really leveling up, if you really want to make a commitment to those goals and those dreams that you have right now, if you really want to lock in the mindset, lock in the motivation, build the support frameworks around yourself so that you cannot fail, so that when you fall off the rails, someone catches you and probably multiple people catch you, then you belong in the Fearless Transformation Master Groups. That's what that's all about. So reach out to me if you want to be a part of that. Let's get back to the fourth element of mindset. The fourth element. This is super exciting for me. So the fourth element of mindset is, what do I deserve? As soon as I ask that question, the conscious mind wants to put its hand up and go, I deserve everything. But that's not a super powerful mindset to have. And the reason why it's not powerful to have is because there isn't enough emotion attached to it and it's not specific enough. And not only that, but it completely ignores what you're already telling yourself. What are you already telling yourself? Like, what is your current mindset around your physical health? What's your mindset around your physical health? What do you deserve? What do you deserve in your physical health? I'd love to hear what you think about that. What do you deserve in your business? What do you like? What do you actually deserve in your business? What do you deserve in your business? And when we start to ask ourselves these things in that way, then it starts to come out a little more, doesn't it? What do you deserve in your relationships? This is the one where people get tripped up because a lot of people think that they can have, that they deserve to have an incredible relationship without being an incredible partner. It's interesting that we don't have that kind of belief in our business, for example. Very few people believe that they deserve to have a thriving business if they're not the kind of business leader that has a thriving business. Isn't that strange? Interesting, right? What about your physical health? How many people have the belief that they deserve to have boundless energy, a great physique, and all those things if they're not doing a lot of work in that area? How many people believe that? So it's interesting to be aware of what are the conditions that you have on what you deserve. So what I want to do, what I want to ask you to do, yeah, we all do, Bob. We all do. Bob, I'm just curious. You said that your biggest struggle was method. What is the um I could look up your wheel of life, but I can't remember which area you really struggle in. But maybe you could just tell me like what your biggest goals and dreams are that you struggle with method. Um, yeah, Anya, you're amazing. Um, yeah, I deserve way better health than I have currently too. We all do. We all do. And what I want to ask you to do is whether it's your business, your health, your relationships, or your finances. Those are the four things that people typically have goals that they set goals in. If you guys did my wheel of life, you see that I have 7 areas of life on my wheel of life. And I encourage you to give all 7 areas some consideration. Most people, because those four those four things are like the external results, where we see external results. Physical health, because we can look in the mirror. We almost have to look in the mirror to see the physical results, right? We have to look outside of ourselves to see our physical health. It's the same with our business, it's the same with our relationships, and with our finances. We have to look outside of ourselves. Not too many people want to look inside of themselves, but I encourage you to think about the other 3 areas of life too, especially when you're setting goals, especially when you're setting dreams. What kind of psychology and emotions do you want to have? Like, what kind of emotions do you want to experience on a day to day basis? 7 days a week, what are your favorite 3, 4, 5 emotions? What are the ones that you want to experience all the time? What about growth? How do you want to be growing? How do you want to be learning? So, those are important. But what I want to ask you to do right now, because I know that you've got a few things in your mind right now that came up for you when we started asking those questions about what do you deserve? What kind of a body do you deserve? What kind of physical health do you deserve? What kind of business do you deserve? It really frames it differently than what kind of business do you want, doesn't it? It's really a completely different way of framing that question. What kind of financial health do you deserve? Now, I know that there's some things under the surface that are bubbling up for some of you. And those things that are bubbling up, I want you to bring them out. And I want you to bring, remember on day one when we talked to our little one? When I talked to my little David? Do you guys remember that? So I want to bring out my little David right now. And rather than um, trying to come up with some airy fairy mindset of what I deserve, I want to speak to little David, because now it's little David that's asking the question, what kind of a business do I deserve? And I'm going to answer that for little David. When you bring out your little one, it changes everything. So I want to tell little David that he deserves to have a thriving business. I want to tell little David that he deserves to have boundless energy. I want to tell little David that he deserves to have a passionate, never ending love. I want to tell little David that he deserves to be free from any financial worries. And I want to tell little David that he deserves to be compensated fairly for the value that he delivers into the world. That's what I want to tell him. And most of all, how am I doing for time here? Good. Perfect. Perfect timing. I'm not even sure if what do I deserve is the right question. It definitely brings up some things for me that I didn't know were there. It's a good question to ask because I know that there's some things in my subconscious mind that are happening when I ask that question. I don't like all the answers that are coming out of my subconscious mind, so I definitely want to change some of those. But while we're on the subject of what do I deserve, I want to do a little exercise with you guys real quick here. This just takes a few minutes. My girlfriend Anya did this exercise every day for years and years, and it completely changed her life. So I encourage you guys to do this on a daily basis if you can. Anya calls it the heart check-in, and I have a way of doing it that I sort of borrowed some stuff from some other people who do a similar kind of exercise. So let's just do it though. It's really simple. You just got to breathe a little bit to start with. In through the nose, out through the mouth. You can kind of feel the air going into your nose. And just take your left hand and put it over your heart. Take your right hand and put it over top of your left hand. You can close your eyes if you want. Because I want you to just feel that heart beating inside your chest. Feel the air going into your lungs. Feel that heart beating under your hands. And the oxygen is going into your lungs. It's being delivered to your heart. Your heart is delivering all the oxygen and all the nutrients that your body needs. It's delivering it to every cell in your body. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day, delivering that oxygen and nutrients to every cell in your body. You know, your heart was the very first organ that developed in your body. It developed long before you had a brain. It started beating long before you had a brain. You see, the heart doesn't need the mind to continue beating. We know this because we can perform heart transplants on people, and the heart never stops beating through that whole process. So when you ask yourself, what do I deserve? I want you to think about this. Long before you were born, long before you even had a brain, someone, something, God, the universe, whatever you believe, someone gave you that heart. It was a gift. You didn't have to earn it. It was a gift. No one can take it from you. It beats 100,000 times a day to keep you alive every day of your life. And it was a gift. No one can take it from you. You didn't have to earn it. There's nothing you can do to have it taken away from you. What a gift. And from that frame of mind, I want you to ask yourself one more time, what kind of a business do I deserve? What kind of physical health do I deserve? What kind of relationships do I deserve? What kind of finances do I deserve? And when you have those answers, anytime you're ready, you can take your hands off your heart and open your eyes. Well, I hope that changed everything for you. It changed a lot for me. And I do that exercise a lot. Thank you so much, Anya, um, for showing me that and for helping me to develop it into it's what it is. I customize it every time I do it. Every time I do it, it just depends on the situation that I'm in. But gratitude is one of the most important things you can do in your life as a practice. So I encourage you to do more of it if you can, and you can use that framework if you feel the need to. Uh, but that's it for day 4. What do you deserve? And the answer really is everything. Um, but as you can see, now that we're on day 4 of the mindset challenge, we're starting to bring those mindsets into categories. So tomorrow, I'm going to ask you to focus on one. And if you want to choose one of the 4 categories, that's fine. I encourage you to at least give some thought to the other 3 categories as well. So, all the categories on the Wheel of Life are important. And by the way, that Wheel of Life exercise, I do that weekly, once a week. So, I keep track of where I'm at, and it changes all the time. I'm always keeping track of where I'm at and what I really feel that I need to focus on. And sometimes it literally, the thing that I need to focus on is psychology and emotions, believe it or not. That's a thing. That's a thing. And when we're talking about psychology, we're talking about the mindset and the motivation. And a lot of people think that they have the mindset and the motivation, but they're not achieve. Listen, if you don't know why you're not achieving your goal, it's either mindset or motivation, almost guaranteed. Because if it was method, you would know why. If there was something missing in your method, you would know why you're not achieving your goal. Um, yeah, Sonia, for sure, do it every week. Um, I feel like I was gonna say something else. Darn it. But oh yes. So psychology and emotions is one area that people don't think about, but the other areas that people don't think about enough are growth and contribution. So that's why I have those in the Wheel of Life. If you want to build your mindset around your business, if you want to build your mindset around your physical health, if you want to build your mindset around your relationships, if you want to build your mindset around your finances, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly okay. You're going to find that at some point you're going to have to build your mindset around all 7 areas to have a completely fulfilled life. So that's it for day 4. I hope you guys enjoyed today. I feel like today is was a powerful day. I promised you it would be, and let me know if I didn't deliver in any way. Feel free to reach out to me on Messenger with any questions that you have about mindset, any questions that you have about my groups, any questions about the categories, any questions about the wheel of life, anything. Just reach out to me on Messenger, and I will see you all tomorrow.